I'm 89 years old. I was married to my wife Rosemary for 62 years before she passed. And there's a lie we tell every young husband that is setting him up to fail before he even gets started. I believed this lie for 23 years. It nearly cost me my marriage. It nearly cost me everything. Happy wife, happy life. That's the lie. 5 words that have destroyed more marriages than infidelity. 5 words that turn husbands into servants and wives into tyrants and marriages into transactions. Let me explain before you get defensive, because what I'm about to tell you sounds wrong at first. Give me a few minutes. It might save your marriage. When I was 25, I married Rosemary. I was raised traditional. Man provides, man protects, man keeps his woman happy. My father said it. My uncle said it. Every man I knew said it. Happy wife, happy life. So I made that my mission. Whatever Rosemary wanted, Rosemary got. If she was unhappy, I fixed it. If she complained, I adjusted. If she was angry, I apologized even when I didn't know what I was apologizing for. I became a servant to her moods. I lost myself trying to manage her emotions. And here's what happened. Rosemary didn't become happier. She became more demanding. Not because she was a bad person, because I trained her to be. Every time she expressed displeasure and I scrambled to fix it, I taught her that her displeasure was power. Every time she got angry and I backed down, I taught her that anger was a tool. I created a dynamic where she controlled and I obeyed, and neither of us was happy. By year 20, we barely recognized each other. She had become someone who was never satisfied. I had become someone who was always apologizing. We were miserable, both of us. The house was silent most days. We moved around each other like strangers who shared an address. I went to see my Uncle Raymond. He was 74 then, married to my aunt for 51 years. Their marriage was the opposite of mine. They laughed together. They touched each other constantly. They were best friends after 5 decades. I needed to know their secret. I told him about happy wife, happy life. Told him I was doing everything right, giving her everything she wanted. Why wasn't it working? Uncle Raymond laughed until he coughed. Then he looked at me with something like pity and said, "Harold, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. And I watched you grow up. You've said a lot of dumb things." He said, "Happy wife, happy life makes you responsible for her happiness. That's not your job. You can't make another person happy. You can only make yourself into someone worth being married to. Her happiness is her job. Your character is your job." I said, "Then what am I supposed to do? Just let her be unhappy?" He said, "Let her feel whatever she feels. Don't rescue her from her own emotions like she's a child. Stop trying to manage her moods. Stop apologizing for things you didn't do wrong. Be a good man. Be steady. Be honest. Be present. But don't be a servant. Servants get treated like servants. Husbands should be treated like partners." He leaned forward, said, "You know what your aunt and I figured out? It's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy spouse, happy house. Both of us, not just her. Both of us responsible for our own happiness and choosing to share it with each other." I went home and I started changing. It was hard. Rosemary was used to the old dynamic. When I stopped scrambling to fix her moods, She got angrier at first. When I stopped apologizing for things I hadn't done, she pushed harder. It felt like our marriage was getting worse. But I held steady. I stayed kind, but I stopped being a doormat. I stayed present, but I stopped being a servant. I loved her, but I stopped losing myself to manage her emotions. And then something amazing happened. Rosemary started changing too. She later told me that when I stopped treating her displeasure as an emergency, she started examining why she was displeased so often. When I stopped being controlled by her moods, she started taking responsibility for them herself. When I became a man with a spine instead of a man with just open arms, she started respecting me again. Our marriage didn't get better because I made her happier. Our marriage got better because I stopped trying to. I focused on being a good man. She focused on being a good woman. We met in the middle as two whole people instead of one servant and one queen. Here's what nobody tells young husbands. Your wife doesn't want you to worship her. She wants you to walk beside her. Equal, present, strong enough to handle her storms without being blown over, soft enough to hold her without crushing her. A partner, not a servant. When you make her happiness your job, you diminish her. You treat her like a child who can't manage her own emotions. You take away her agency, her adulthood, her responsibility for her own inner world. You think you're being a good husband. You're actually being condescending. Rosemary was a strong woman. She ran a business, raised 4 children, managed a household. She was capable of extraordinary things. But when I treated her happiness as my responsibility, I was telling her she wasn't capable of being happy on her own. I was telling her she needed me to manage her emotions. That's not love. That's control dressed up as care. Real love says I trust you to handle your own feelings. Real love says I'll be here when you need me, but I won't suffocate you by monitoring your every mood. Real love says you are whole without me, and I am whole without you, and we choose each other not because we need to, but because we want to. Marriage isn't about making each other happy. Marriage is about making yourselves into people who can be happy, and then sharing that happiness together. Rosemary and I had 42 more years after I learned this. 42 years of real partnership. We still had hard days. We still disagreed. She still had moods, and I still had flaws. But we stopped making each other responsible for things we couldn't control. We stopped trying to manage each other. We just loved each other. I look at young husbands now and I see myself at 25, scrambling, apologizing, trying to control something that can't be controlled, making themselves smaller so their wives can be bigger, thinking that's love. It's not love. It's codependency. It's fear. It's the slow death of 2 people who could have been partners, but became prisoners instead. I'm 89 now. Rosemary's been gone 4 years. And what I miss most is not how happy I made her. It's how happy we made each other. 2 whole people choosing joy together instead of one person desperately trying to create joy in the other. If you're a young husband and you've been living by happy wife, happy life, if you've been scrambling and apologizing and losing yourself, if your wife's moods control your whole house, stop. Not because she doesn't matter. She matters more than anything. But you matter too. Your happiness matters too. You are not a servant. You are a husband, a partner, and equal. Be a good man. Be steady. Be present. Be kind. Be strong. But don't disappear. Don't become a servant. Don't make her happiness your job when you can barely manage your own. She married a man. Stay a man. That's what she needs. That's what you need. That's what marriage needs. Two whole people walking together, not one servant carrying the other. That's the truth. That's what saved my marriage. That's what I wish someone had told me at 25. Happy spouse, happy house. Both of you. Not just her. Both.